Recently, Utah passed a new Senate Bill 54, which is a count my vote bill. It basically says that anybody can get on the ballot for an election just by gathering signatures. In fact, there's a little commercial by former Governor Mike Leavitt who talks about it. So I'm going to run this little clip here where he talks about how more choices is better government.
Utah has a new law. It's called Count My Vote. Until this year, a handful of Republican Party insiders could limit access to the primary election ballot. Now, more good candidates can qualify for a primary election by collecting signatures from thousands of fellow Utahns. That means that you and I have more candidates to choose from. More candidates to choose from means better choices, and better choices mean better government.
Okay, so if that is true, that more choices equals better government, what I did is I decided to go ahead and just pull one candidate, Zanny Haney. She chose to go the count my vote route, get some signatures. And so I'm going to go ahead and find some facts about her and see if this count my vote candidate is superior than to one that's vetted through the caucus system. And it really starts with a brochure. Here's a flyer that was put on my door. It says your voice matters. Zanny Haney, and I will listen. Okay, let's go ahead and delve into some of the finances regarding this campaign with Zanny Haney. This is disclosure.utah.gov. This is the official website that all potential elected officials need to report their income and expenses. So let's first of all go into the convention for 2016 and see what we see here. A lot of times this reveals some very interesting information. So set up her account. This is how much she's made at the first round here. But let's see where she gets the money from. So the first couple, $50, $30, $100. Those are probably just individuals there. It looks like Zanny went ahead. She kicked in some money of her own, so she's spending $15.33 to support her campaign. That doesn't sound like a whole lot of money to me. If she's serious, wouldn't she kick in some more money for this? But obviously, she's counting on other dollars to carry her here. So the first thing here was CMV. That's an abbreviation for Count My Vote. They gave $1,000 right there. So let's take a look at Count My Vote. Now, some of you might remember Count My Vote is a PAC group that's designed to help overturn the caucus system. And so that way, instead of having to be vetted, candidates having to be vetted by their neighborhood people, what they are is just about money. And the more money you put in, or the more money you have, the easier it is for you to get elected, because what they want to do is just spend money to gather signatures, then start a marketing campaign. The point is, it shouldn't be about money. Now all of a sudden with Count My Vote, good people that don't have a lot of money are not going to make it unless they're funded by special PAC groups and special interests that basically own the individual at that point. So I think Count My Vote is a bad deal, but Zaney's getting $1,000 from them. Here's Education First. They kicked in $1,000 for that. This gentleman here from Centerville, that name is going to come up again, and I'll show you that on the next one. He kicked in $500 to kind of get things started. He's with another PAC organization, a part of Education First. And then we have B7 Enterprise. So, and it looks like B7 is just a business local here. A guy named Gregory Scott Butterfield is the local agent here. But they have offices all over. There's Kentucky, there's Montana. Anyways, not quite sure. Maybe that's your friend. I don't know. But that's a lot of money to be kicking out. And then just somebody else giving $100. Alpine, Pleasant Grove, more local people. So she raised $4,045. just for the contributions in this convention portion. Not bad. Again, she only had to pay in $15.33 because of all the PACs and other things that are going on there. So let's see where she's spending her money. So we have Gathering Inc. So spent $400 to gather signatures. So, there's this funny video. In fact, we're going to run this reel here that's going to show a little commercial of her out there hitting the streets, that I should be able to, through hard work and talking to people, be able to be on the ballot. She didn't do anything. She did a promotional video here, and then she spent $400 to get 1,000 signatures. That's not very much of a vetting process in my mind. So we have this Education First group. Let's just kind of see who they are. So here's Education First. That's the group that's supporting Common Core, a state standard. It actually handed down from the federal government to the states, and the states are receiving financial aid to help initiate this. And it's the way the federal government can now mandate what is taught in the schools. And so the parents are going to lose their right and ability to control the education. It's going to a federal level, which I think is a very bad deal. In fact, the Educational First PAC seeks revenue package from Utah legislators. So what they want to do is basically raise taxes by almost 1% to start funding more education and have them probably administer it in some way. So if you support Education First, you just can plan on having a tax increase, which we already have enough taxation, don't we? If you want more taxes, then Education First PAC is going to go ahead and try to get that done. But let's see what else we have here. Vote for Education First. So who are the people that care about Education First? You have Dan Hemmerich. He's in our area. You have Zanny Haney. She's also an Education First. So basically, Education First is trying to buy these people and say, we want you in our pocket, in a sense, because we want to pass some legislation to get tax increases. This is a bad deal, okay? Just a bad deal. So let's keep digging in here. Let's see who this is. So we have this Bob. He's with this Management and Training Corporation. Now wait a minute. Management Training Corporation, and he's also on Educational First Board of Directors. Okay, let's go back here for just a second. Are we starting to see the tie-in here? That Management and Training Corporation is funding Zaney through this Education First. Okay, let's go into back to disclosure.utah.gov, into Zaney's campaign contributions, and just see how much this Education First / MTC group is putting into her campaign. Okay, let's go back to disclosures.utah.gov under Zaney's account to just see how much this Education First / MTC group is putting into her campaign. And so we'll go into the convention, and we'll see right here, Education First. Notice the address, 500 North Marketplace Drive. There's $1,000. And then there's that Robert or Bob gentleman who's on the chair, or one of the board members of Education First, another $500. So in the first round, it's $1,500. Let's go ahead and close that out, and we're going to go into the primary and just see. So now we have Management and Training Corporation, same address, 500 North Marketplace, another $500. There's Robert again, different address this time, maybe his home, $500. This is his, I'm guessing, his wife. There's another $250. And then we go down here, and it has Education First. There's $1,000, $400, $1,000, $100, $1,000, and you'll notice all of these addresses here are the exact same. And then we'll go down here, and here's another one for $500. If you add all that up, it's $6,000. $6,000 this Education First PAC has given to Zanny to fund her campaign. That's just not right. $6,000 is a lot of money. And do you think that this group has a lot of influence on the way Zanny is going to vote? Here's an example of a flyer that Zanny sent, a little door hanger flyer, and it says, "Your voice matters, Zanny Haney, and I will listen." Do you really think she's going to listen to you when there's $6,000 from this Education First PAC group? You know, she's going to do whatever they tell her to do. Okay, let's go ahead and look back at some of these other ones, though. Utah Labor Legislative Committee. So they gave her $1,000. That's quite a bit of money. Let's find out who they are. So what I did is I went ahead and did a little search for them. Here we go. Okay, the Utah AFL-CIO. And I can't really find out exactly what they do. Just some bogus labor union kind of thing. I don't know. I started going through their calendar to see, maybe their calendar would show me some stuff. And so they have labor union, community service golf tournament. Okay, so they got a union that's going golfing. Union movie night. Great. They're going to Iron Giant, so they're supporting a movie. Stamp out a hunger letter. Okay, that might sound like something decent. Nothing. Neighborhood caucus. So they're out trying to, well, that's the caucus time. Caucus breakfasts. Another movie night. Great, you know. This is a good unit. They go to movies, they go to golf tournaments. But, you know, the really interesting thing is they're funding Zanny to the tune of $1,000. I wondered to myself, could they be funding anybody else? And if so, who? Okay, and by the way, this organization, the AFL-CIO, is also a big PAC out of Washington, D.C. And so you have to ask yourself, what's going on there? And they have affiliate locations. And one of them is here in Utah. So why don't we see here? Oh, so there they are. So this is a declaration of income or money earned from another person campaigning from a while back. And you see the Utah AFL-CIO. So who are they funding? Again, $200 for that, by the way. This Roger Harding, as a Democrat. Now, isn't that funny? Because there's some controversy that says Zanny Haney used to be registered as a Democrat. And I have the philosophy, if it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it probably is a duck. Would you agree? And so here we have this group that's funding Zanny for $1,000, and they also support Democrats. To me, that says something. I don't know if it says it to you, but it certainly does to me, that perhaps Zanny is not fully on board with the Republican philosophy. So here is a graphical representation of Zanny's contributions. Starts with her $15.33 that she's committed to put into her campaign to make sure it's successful, which is a joke. And then you have the Count My Vote PAC, which is $1,000. Educational First PAC /MTC, $6,000, which is over 50% of the entire contributions that she has received. You have the Utah Labor Legislative Committee at $1,000. You have B7 LLC at $1,000, and just individuals in her area, in her precinct and stuff, has only $730. That's a pittance compared to the total. And then others could include small businesses and other donations that fall outside of these categories. So you can see that the PACs are the ones that just absolutely dominate in here, which is part of Count My Vote. It's driven by PACs and money, not who's a good candidate. Okay, so I receive a lot of brochures from candidates, and I received another one from Zanny. It says, Real Republicans Vote. And on the back side of it, it says, You are a real Republican, so implying that I should get out and vote. And I totally agree. So let's look at Zanny's track record of her voting. The last time she voted was 2008 in a primary election, and not much before that. So if her statement is true, that is found on a brochure from her, that real Republicans vote, she's not voting. What does that imply? To me, it says there's something amiss. There's something not quite right here. And I'm really nervous. Why in the world would I vote for someone when I don't have enough facts about them? In fact, there's a lot of information that points very negatively towards her. I just don't think it's worth casting a vote for her. Okay, so I've been rambling on quite a bit about the Count My Vote and kind of showing you one of the candidates that went the Count My Vote route and how they're not the best, and how Mike Leavitt said that would have more choices and that makes better candidates and better opportunities. And I think I've shown you that it's not the case, that it's really about money with this Zanny Haney one. But here's some other candidates also that I wanted to kind of call out here and show you that they're all kind of working together. So here's a picture. This is off the Education First website. You can see there's Dan Hemmert there, and Zanny's on there, and some more. These are people that are receiving these kind of funding from this organization. It's a bad deal. And then if you look at another brochure, here we have Gary Herbert is on board with this Education First. Dan Hemmert and Zanny Haney. They're all like this political marketing machine to try to fake you into believing that they're doing what's best when they're just really going to do what the PACs want them to do. Okay, another one here. This is another Zanny Haney brochure. But here's another one from Dan. It's the exact same template. All what he did is change a few pictures on it. Zanny's, Dan's. Zanny's, Dan. It's the same. Basically, they're in cahoots. Okay, let's do another brochure that I received. Why are these people smiling? Notice there's Mitt Romney, Zanny Haney, Gail Miller, and Governor Mike Leavitt. Okay, now this one came from Dan. Now here's the one from Zanny. Again, Mitt Romney, and it has Dan, Gail, and Governor or ex-governor Mike Leavitt. It's exactly the same. They're all doing the same thing. They're trying to deceive us, I believe, and they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes. It's pretty clear that this is a bad deal. Count My Vote is going to destroy Utah. And it's not going to give us better candidates. What it's going to do is give us candidates that either have money or are going to do whatever the PACs tell them to do so that they can get money and get elected. That's it. Anyways, please do not vote for Zanny or Dan or any of these people that are using Count My Vote. The caucus system works. Even on the billboards that Governor Herbert has, says we're the best run state. No kidding, because we had good people in office through the caucus system. That's going to disappear if we let Count My Vote continue on. So please, vote wise, be smart. Let's save the caucus system and keep good government in check. Have a great one. Bye.